Fifth grade Excel, lesson 55, recognizing multiplication without the X symbol and calculating the answer to word problems using a 2-to-1 and 5-to-1 ratio. So this is a lot of information, a lot of stuff in one lesson. I'm going to go really fast and you're going to be able to just back up when you're confused or I'm going too fast for you. It says right here, when a variable or unknown value represented by a letter is multiplied by a number, or another variable, it is normally written without the multiplication symbol, like this. 4 times b is equal to 12 can also be written 4b is equal to 12. So when you see a 4 next to a letter like that, that means 4 times some unknown number, which is b, is going to be equal to 12. And so obviously that b is equal to 3 because 4 times 3 is equal to 12. B is referred to as the unknown. That letter right there is the unknown number. This is a simpler form of expressing multiplication. It's easier to write 4b than it is to write 4 times b. Determine the value of the unknown in each equation. To check your answer, put your value for the unknown into the original equation and see if you have a true statement. Let's take a look at how they did number 1 here. 3 times a is equal to 15. They said a is equal to 5. When we put a 5 in there, 3 times 5 is 15. That works out. And so a equals 5 makes sense. Let's try number 2 together. And 4 times y is equal to 32. 4 times some number is 32. What's y equal to? Well, 4 times 8 is 32. You see, 4 times 8, 32. That works out nicely. So why don't you pause the video, try numbers 3 and 4, turn it back on when you're ready for the solutions. 24 is equal to 6 times x. And it doesn't matter if we reverse these, we can put 6x equals 24, and it's the same thing as this. So 6 times some number is equal to 24, and that's 4. 6 times 4 is 24. 7 times some number is equal to 21, and in this case is equal to 3. 7 times 3 is 21. 3 candy mints cost 5 cents. How much will 6 mints cost? Since 6 is 2 times 3, the cost for 6 mints will be 2 times the price of 3 mints, or 10 cents. Note the numbers of mints are multiples of 3. The cost for each combination is a multiple of 5. Fill in the chart below to see how much groups of mints will cost. So what we're saying is if I get 3 mints for 5 cents and I buy 6 mints, how much will that cost? Well, I'm getting 2 times the mints, so I should pay 2 times the price. And I do, 10 cents. Now if I get 9, I'm getting 3 times the mints, and so I should be paying 3 times the money. And so 3 times 5 is equal to 15. Fill that in on your chart. Go ahead and see if you can fill in the rest of the chart down here. Pause the video, turn it back on when you're ready for the solutions. Alright, so this one would be, it's 5, 10, 15, that's 20 cents, that's 25 cents, and 30 cents. Now, unfortunately, these problems here are a lot easier than the problems that you're really going to face on your daily math. Here are what the problems are going to look like, and they even have done the work for you. So I want you to pay real close attention. Kids always have a really tricky time with these. And so I'm going to give you as many good suggestions as I can. If you don't really pay attention and get this, then you're going to have a tough time on these problems every day when you see them on your map. 8 paper clips cost 12 cents. How many paper clips can be bought for 6 cents? Now I'm going to call these are basically an equal ratio problem, but I'm going to call them a stuff for money problem, stuff for money. So this is stuff for money, stuff for money. When you see a problem like this that tells you get some stuff for this certain money, and then how many is your stuff, we don't know how much stuff here for this money, that's a stuff for money problem. You set that up like this. You put your stuff right here, you draw an arrow, and you put your money right here. Then you put your stuff right here, arrow, money right here. Then you're going to multiply or divide both sides of the equation by the same number. And you can see that here we're going from 8 to 4, so we're dividing by 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. That's how I went from 8 to 4. So I'm going to do the same thing to the money. I'm going to divide the money by 2 to get 6 cents. Excuse me, it's actually the opposite. We know that we're dividing the money by 2 to get 6 cents, so we're going to divide the stuff by 2 to get 4. So my answer here is 4 paper clips. Alrighty, now let's take a look at this next one to see how they did this. It's another stuff for money problem. 6 pieces of gum cost 30 cents. That's stuff for money. How much will 12 pieces of gum cost? Here we have 12 pieces of gum. We don't know how much it costs, so that's stuff for money there. So they set this up with 6 pieces of gum for 30 cents, and then 12 pieces of gum, we don't know this number. To go from 6 to 12, we multiply by 2. To go from 30 to whatever the price is, I'm also going to multiply by 2, because if I'm getting twice the stuff, I should be paying twice the money. And so 30 times 2 is equal to 60, and we put down 60 cents here as our answer. All right, hopefully you got that. A ratio is a comparison of two numbers or measures. For number 5, the ratio of mints to cost is 3 to 5. That was our first problem that we did with the little chart. Had all those spots on it. The ratio was 3 mints for 5 cents. It can also be written as 3:5 or as a fraction 3 over 5. We have already learned that as long as the numerator and the denominator of a fraction are multiplied by the same number or divided, it is an equivalent fraction. Therefore, if both sides of a ratio are multiplied by the same number, there will be an equivalent ratio, because ratios and fractions are much alike. Write each ratio answer in all 3 forms. There are 11 girls and 12 boys in Nadia's class. What is the ratio of girls to boys? The ratio of girls to boys is 11 to 12. 11 girls to 12 boys. Notice the order. You have to put girls first and then boys second. You cannot reverse those. So the first way to write our ratio is with the word 2 in between the 2 numbers. The second way to write our ratio is with a colon in between the 2 numbers. And the third way to write our ratio is a fraction. The first number is on the top, the numerator. The second thing mentioned is on the bottom as the denominator. A lot of kids flip those because they get careless and then they get wrong answers to these. You have to keep them in the right order. Let's do number 9 together. Boys to girls. There are 12 boys, so we're going to do 12 first. We're going to do the 2 method here first. 12 to 11. 11 girls. Notice I'm putting boys here. Excuse me, girls there. Now we're going to write it with a colon. 12:11. Then we're going to do it as a fraction. It's okay to have the numerator larger than the denominator. This is a ratio. It's not really truly a fraction. It is a ratio. Okay, number 10. Boys to the total number of students. We want to make a ratio that starts with the boys over on this side, and the second number is the total students, not girls, but total students. Pause the video, try number 10 by yourself, then turn it back on for the solution. Okay, there are 12 boys, and there are how many total students? Well, 12 plus 11 is 23. So we have a total of 23. So we're going to put 12 to 23 as our ratio each time. Okay, go ahead and try number 11. Turn the video back on when you're ready for the solution. Girls to total, that would be 11 to 23. 11:23, or 11 over 23. All right, here are some word problems with ratios. Solve the problems by setting up equivalent ratios or fractions. The first one is done for you. So you're going to try to figure out what is the ratio being given or the fraction being given. Write that fraction or that ratio, write an equal sign, put another fraction with only one number, the one number they give you, and a missing number, and then you should be able to solve for that missing number, just like you've been doing on your equal fraction problems for quite some time now. This says Julio can run 2 laps in 5 minutes. Here's your ratio, 2 laps to 5 minutes. So it's 2 laps for 5 minutes. We got to remember that, okay? Got to keep those straight. It says at this rate, or that ratio, right, how long will it take him to run 6 laps? So the 6 is going to be on the top. So we have laps to minutes. 2 to 5 is his ratio of laps to minutes. So this is what we actually show for our work. We don't have to do this to show our work, but that just explains it to you. The ratio is 2 laps for 5 minutes, and it really helps if you put labels on there so you don't accidentally switch these numbers when you go to solve it. And then 6 laps. He says, at this rate, how long will it take you to run 6 laps? Put the laps on the top. How do we solve for this missing number? Just like we have been doing for some time. When you see a problem like this, you know how to solve that. You just multiply times 3, and you get a 15 like they did right here. So the answer is 15 minutes. 6 laps, 15 minutes. All right, number 13 hasn't been done. Give that a shot. Make sure you put the labels. That'll save you a ton of work. And pause the video, turn it back on when you're ready for the solution. The ratio of girls to boys in Edwin's class is 6 to 5. If there are 10 boys, how many girls are in the class? And so, let's see here. We've got a ratio of girls to boys. And that means 6 is the girls and 5 is the boys. So you should write 6G over 5B. If you don't do that, you're going to miss this one. If there are 10 boys, how many girls are there? So when you put the 10 over here, do you put the 10 on the top or the bottom? Well, the boys are on the bottom. So you're going to put 10B down there. How do we get the girls? We multiply that times 2. So we're going to multiply this times 2. That means there are 12 girls in the class. All right, thanks for watching.